Hey, did you find any place to grab dinner tonight?
I'm still looking.
Okay, what do we narrowed it down to?
Not Chinese food.
Fantastic. Do you have a taste for anything?
What do you want?
Well, I mean, you know what I want.
There's no ice cream in there.
So this becomes a priority.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have? What do we have here? Oh, that's you. That's you.
That's not for you to see.
Who's that for to see? What is it? What's going on?
It's a cooking show.
What's it called?
Only pans.
Only pants. What do you wear when you make these videos?
I mean, it's called Only Pans.
Welcome to another episode of If I Could Churn Back Time, the show where we show you how to make ice cream and we talk to people about things in their life they maybe like to churn back.
Today's host is a very special one. She is one of my very best friends. She's part of my squad of other physicians. This is Alexia. Welcome, Alexia.
Thank you.
So what made you want to be on a show where we make ice cream?
I really like ice cream, and I really like Aisha, so why wouldn't I be on her show?
But you don't eat ice cream like the rest of us, do you?
No, actually I don't.
How do you
I had a
eat your
feeling
ice
you'd bring that up.
How do you eat your ice cream?
So I had very sensitive teeth growing up, and didn't eat anything cold until I was about 10 or 11 years old. So what I do is let my ice cream melt until it's basically the consistency of ice cream soup, and then I drink it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Everyone else thinks it's gross.
And so you picked the flavor that we're doing today.
I did.
What are we doing?
Cookies and cream.
Is this your favorite?
It is my favorite because naturally, if you have soup ice cream, you need something crunchy in it to offset the soup.
Those are your crackers?
Right? Now it makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It's all coming together.
Texture.
See, you learn a little bit about people and their backgrounds. All of a sudden, everything else starts to make sense too. So we've already gone through and we've made 4 ice creams at this point.
Yeah.
We've kind of got the process down for the base. So we're going to have you do that part of it. Throw everything together. We've got everything
Are you
already
testing me?
measured.
Was I supposed to study beforehand? Because I did it.
We're going to walk you through it. It's just more fun to like actually do the thing than just to watch it. Be like, oh, what a nice process.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we've got a bowl right here that we're going to start with mixing all the dry stuff. First is going to be your sugar. We've got a half cup of that.
And I just inhaled sugar.
And this is our dry milk powder?
That's right. There's 2 tablespoons of that.
I don't want to inhale that.
Mm-mm.
No.
And then a 1/4 teaspoon of your stabilizer. Yeah, this is actually going to be the simplest recipe that we've put together because we're not going to steep anything to give it the flavor. All we're doing is making vanilla ice cream. We're going to use vanilla extract.
Mm-hmm. Not the bean.
Nope.
So
No.
sick of stuff. I mean, if you've got the time for it, like making vanilla bean ice cream is really rewarding. But let's keep it simple for today.
You've already
Because
done
the cookies are the star of the show today, right?
Yes.
And so we're going to take those and add them in right before we throw it in the freezer.
that. Okay.
All right, so now that we've got all the dry stuff together, we're going to mix it in with the milk, the corn syrup, and the vanilla extract on the stove as we heat everything up to just about a boil and then take it off. And that's 1 1/3 cups of milk, 2 tablespoons of corn syrup,
Vanilla.
vanilla.
There you go.
Cool, so now pour the dry stuff in there as you're whisking.
It's science.
It's really challenging. I'm nervous.
It's like rubbing your belly and patting your head at the same time. Now we'll throw it on the stove, medium, high heat. Should only take 3 to 5 minutes. So while that's heating up, can I show you guys the funnest part of making cookies and cream ice cream?
Yes, you can.
So we've got our cookies. What are these called? Sandwich cookies?
Sandwich cookies.
Sandwich cookies.
Generic sandwich cookies.
Generic chocolate cream sandwich cookies.
We want to get a cup of cookie out of this to be able to mix into the base later, and it's about 9-10 cookies. So we've divided them up. I've given you 5 each. This is where you get to do a little bit of therapy in the kitchen.
Ooh.
We have to break these guys down into little tiny pieces so we can mix them into the ice cream so you're not eating huge chunks.
So good.
It is therapeutic, isn't it? Wow. How much do you want on the crush?
Pretty fine. You still want some chunks in there, but you don't want whole cookies.
So what if I like my cookies and cream ice cream kind of chunky? Then
Just pound it less.
okay.
And
But
if
I
you're
mean, when
having,
you
like-
churn it, doesn't it break up the cookies anyway?
No, because we're not putting it in the churner. It'll be after the churn.
Oh, okay.
Look at how much we're learning.
I feel like this is a good amount of crushed.
Yeah. Aisha had a little bit more aggression to let out, so hers are a little finer, but it's going to be good. We're going to put them together. You've got
I do
good
a lot of
contrast.
overnight shifts. I got some feelings.
Now that everything's heated up, we're going to add in the cream. Whisk it in as we do so it doesn't burn. Now that everything's mixed together, all that's left to do is to churn it. So we're going to put it in the fridge for about a half hour in a plastic bag, submerged in ice and water to get that temperature down. And then we'll throw it in our churner, 30 minutes or so. And
Then we'll add the cookies?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll add the cookies.
Then we'll add the cookies. So now that our ice cream is all churned up, the last thing to do is add in the cookie pieces. And all we're going to do is stir them into the bowl and then dump it into our container to freeze.
Look at that.
Looks so good. All right, now all that's left to do is to put it in the freezer, let it sit for a couple hours and freeze and settle, and then we'll taste it. So Alexia, one of the reasons that we put ice cream making with sort of talking about stuff is that ice cream is kind of a healing food, right? Like it's got healing properties. It's what you go to when you're having an amazing day, but also when you're having a terrible day. And so we've asked people that come on the show to think about something in their life that if they had the chance to do over, what they do differently or what lessons they learned from it that made them a better person.
So I thought a lot about it. Something I've always struggled with is focusing too much on other people's happiness and making them happy as opposed to focusing on my own happiness. So instead of picking my favorite ice cream flavor, trying to think of what the other person's ice cream flavor is and picking that.
Sure. Now, on the surface, that doesn't seem like a bad thing, right? Isn't that sort of how we get along in society, is making other people happy and making their days better? Why
To
was
an
this
extent.
problematic?
The best example I thought of was very early on. I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. And my aunt at the time lived in the Virgin Islands and was getting married. But the problem was I had made the all-star softball team, and all the tournaments were the entire week, 2 weeks that my family had planned on going on vacation for my aunt's wedding. Luckily, my parents let me make the decision myself, which at 9 or 10 years old seemed like a huge,
That is a
crazy
huge
decision
decision.
to make. Like,
Yeah.
pick my family or pick
I think that's
like,
a huge decision.
what
at
I
any
wanted to do and
age.
have some fun.
Yeah.
And I ended up choosing to stay home with my grandma and play softball all summer. And my family went on this big vacation and celebrated my aunt's wedding, and I wasn't present for it. And thinking back, I have a feeling, well, I feel like I made that decision more because I really wanted to make my parents proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they weren't giving me any pressure to go play softball all summer and be competitive and do all of that, that was in my head what I thought they wanted. And that's why I decided to do that. But then they all came back and I looked at all the pictures and all the fun that they had on the island and on the vacation, and I was like, man, I did miss out on something. I was 9, I was 10, I wasn't thinking that deeply into it all. I just was like, no, I gotta go do this. This is what I gotta go do.
Yeah.
And I did have a great time with my grandma. But looking back, I feel like that kind of set a groundwork for me continuing to do that in bigger decisions and other things in my life. And I feel like had I learned earlier not to try to do everything to please other people, I'd probably be a less anxious person. I would have had a lot less strife in a lot of decisions I made. And so it was more just an effect on myself as opposed to anything on other people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How old were you when you sort of realized that that was an issue?
Probably right after graduating college was when I really took note of that. So like 23, 24 was when I started to kind of notice that I did that a lot. And then actively attempted to stop doing that, which, I mean, still do it sometimes, but I'm a lot better at being conscious of when I'm doing that and trying not to.
Yeah, you can't really fix something if you don't know it's a problem, right?
Exactly.
And especially this one too, it's so dangerous because, again, it's something that you're not doing anything that's sort of wrong. You know, as far as like society sees people, like we want to make each other happy, but it's that self-care that really has only gotten traction in the last couple of years. And we really
It's
only
true.
started talking about mental
Very
health.
true.
So that's awesome that you were a little bit ahead of the curve on that, working on yourself before it became trendy, but like you caught it.
Yeah, and I'm glad I did. Otherwise, yeah, mental health would be a lot more of a struggle right now.
And I think women are socialized to be altruistic and to put the needs of others in front of their needs just as a standard. And it takes a long time to unlearn that. And it's very difficult.
Still actively unlearning it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a lot better about it.
And you don't have to be sorry about it. It's not a thing that anybody should be sorry for, to, you know, focus on their own needs and you know, prioritize themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And not even in a self-centered way. It's more just prioritize yourself in a healthy way. Because it can swing both ways.
Yeah.
You can be so altruistic that you forget about yourself, and that's also not good. So I kind of took your prompt as if I could write my young self a letter or give my young self some advice.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Don't forget about yourself.
I love that. If you were the person that you are today growing up, do you think you'd have a different life right now?
You know, I don't think so. I just think I might have reached the point I'm at sooner. I meandered a lot, which is fine, because I went back and forth trying to please other people as opposed to thinking truly what I wanted to do. And there's also nothing wrong with that. Everybody's journey is different, and you ultimately get where you get to, and that's fine. I'm a doctor, that's my profession, but I think because I had that personality trait of really wanting to help people and make people happy, it kind of led me down the path to healthcare. And I think I still would have done that, so I'd probably still be in the same, I guess, occupation as I am. I just feel like I might have gotten there faster. I liked the fact that I took some years off and took some time to figure myself out. And
Yeah. It makes a
learn
big
who I was.
difference.
Yep, it does.
In the way you practice and
Just the way you live life.
yeah.
Too.
And I would imagine if you were at the same place right now with still, you know, I'm sure amplified this like people pleasing quality, you'd be a mess. Like how would you not burn out in a profession where you're
It's
constantly
true.
so concerned about all that stuff?
Yeah. You can't take care of other people if you can't take care of yourself. So.
Yep, can't drink from an empty vessel. I think generations of women have already gone lifetimes doing this. You know, I think there's a movement among women our age and women who are younger than us where, you know, we are now focusing on ourselves and our lives and our success and our desires.
And it makes me happy to see that women support other women in doing so.
Empowered women empower women.
They do.
So if somebody's watching this and they're thinking, maybe I have this problem, maybe I'm a people pleaser, maybe I'm not putting myself first or as high on the priority list as I need to, what are some things that you sort of look for when you looking at your own behavior or even what you see in other people?
Well, the first thing is noticing it and putting a label on it, like saying like I'm doing this, because you can't change anything if you don't know you're doing it.
Is it a feeling that you get though? Like, is it like a gut feeling?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Like a little voice that says like, I don't really want to do this. Why am I doing this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it started, was like, why did I do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you think and actually put a reason to why you made that decision, you'll see like, oh, I didn't do that because I wanted to do that. I did that for this reaction, or this reason. And the more often you do that with bigger decisions, the more you'll do it before you make the decision and be like, I want to do this, so I'm going to, as opposed to reflecting after the fact.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That was, I mean, good to know, as your friend, as something that you've struggled with, because now you've got more allies. The more people you tell, like, hey, just so you know, this is something I deal with.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because the more I reflected on it myself, the more I noticed it in other people. And the more when friends come to me and talk to me about some issue or something, I'll then actively repeat it to them. I'll be like, but what is it that you want to do? And the more you do that, people will stop and catch themselves and be like, oh.
Yeah.
This. I want to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Paying it forward.
Exactly.
Now that we've wrung out your emotions a little bit, want to eat some ice cream?
Yeah.
Yes! Oh, I'm so excited right now.
All right, we'll give this to you so we can give it a chance to melt.
All right, we've got our ice creams. Alexia is melting hers down, making it into like a milkshake consistency.
Yep.
To each their own.
Yep.
Let's try it.
Alright.
Look at these cute little bowls.
Yeah.
I know.
These tiny
Thank
little
you, so
spoons.
Cute.
Thank you, Alessandra. Oh my god.
That's amazing.
I need a bigger spoon.
I like the vanilla.
It's
like-
so good.
Yeah, and one of the downsides about using vanilla extract is that it can kind of taste boozy because it comes from basically just steeping vanilla in alcohol. And because of the strong chocolate flavor from the cookies,
Cuts
it
it.
masks it right up. Yeah.
That was... I inhaled it.
Wow. Just wanted to thank you guys who have already followed us on Facebook and Instagram. We have been putting stuff up there, getting feedback. Love the comments you guys are posting. Keep them coming. Tell your friends. We're going to be posting new videos probably about once a month as like life lets us. So it's not going to be super consistent. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube if you want to stay up to date. We try to push stuff out as much as we can on social media, but the algorithms, they hide stuff. So
Yeah.
subscribe. Alexia, I hope this was everything you hoped it would be.
It definitely was.
This turned out better than I thought it would.
More.
Good, good.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thanks for having me. And that was delicious.
You're so good. We might have seconds
We will have
later, as in now.